there's oil and there's gas. There's a refinery right here in Haifa, and Hezbollah terrorists have relentlessly targeted not just Haifa, but parts of northern Israel. In fact, through the day today, there were air raid sirens along not just Mount Carmel where we are, but the Haifa Bay and other parts of this vibrant city. But will Israel strike Iran? What will be Iran's response? And that's keeping this entire region on the edge. Let's listen in to what the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, has to say. Let's also listen in to the 45th President of the United States of America, former President Donald Trump, also the Republican candidate in the upcoming presidential elections.
There is nowhere in the Middle East Israel cannot reach. There's nowhere we will not go to protect our people and protect our country. With every passing moment, the regime is bringing you, the noble Persian people, closer to the abyss. But you know one simple thing. Iran's tyrants don't care about your future, but you do. When Iran is finally free, and that moment will come a lot sooner than people think, everything will be different. Our two ancient peoples, the Jewish people and the Persian people, will finally be at peace. Our two countries, Israel and Iran, will be at peace.
The move taken by our armed forces was the least punishment for the occupying Zionist regime in the face of the crimes, the unbelievable crimes committed by that regime, the bloodthirsty regime, the wolfish regime. We neither hesitate, we will not give up, but we will not rush at the same time.
It's the biggest risk we have. Nuclear weapons, the power of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. You know, I rebuilt the entire military, jets, everything. I built it, including nuclear, and I hated to build the nuclear, but I got to know firsthand the power of that stuff, and I'll tell you what, we have to be totally prepared. We have to be absolutely prepared. But when they asked him that question, the answer should have been, hit the nuclear first and worry about the rest later.
And joining me from Iran right now is Ali Akbar Dareni, who's a researcher at the Center for Strategic Studies. Of course, Lenny remains with me on this special broadcast to talk about what is Iran likely to do and what would Israel's response be, because this is an issue that's being talked about virtually in every home, whether here in Israel or in Iran or perhaps across the world. But this is something that will have a massive impact, not just in this region, but globally. This will have a huge impact. And Ali Akbar Dareni, if I may, what's the thinking in Iran right now? Those 181 missile strikes in Israel, that actually has Iran directly into this conflict. So far, Israel said Iran's been fighting through its proxies, through the Houthis, through the Hamas, through the Hezbollah, through the Shia militia in Iran, in Syria and in Iraq. But now Iran is directly involved. What will Iran do if there's a strike back by Israel?
Iran is prepared for the worst scenario. Israel knows no red lines. It has no moral limitations in carrying out crimes against humanity. Look at what it has done in Gaza: genocide, ethnic cleansing. So Iran is prepared for any possible Israeli attack. Iran will not tolerate even a symbolic attack on its territory. So if Israel is going to attack any part of Iran, whether it's going to be military installations, economic infrastructure, or nuclear facilities, Iran will react accordingly. It has prepared the responses already. So it will depend on the nature and extent of the Israeli action. If it passes through Iranian air defense systems, I have been told that Iran has prepared a detailed plan on how to impose costs on Israel to make it regret.
Let me for a moment take this now to Lenny. A guest from Iran, Ali Akbar Dareni, says that Iran has a counter-strike plan ready. It depends on where Israel strikes, whether it's the oil facilities or the nuclear research center the command and control structure. Accordingly, Iran will respond. Do you see this as a massive escalation across this region now?
I think this has to be done. This has to be done. We have to respond. We have to respond, and we have to show them that they cannot do whatever they want with Israel. Israel is strong enough. Israel can respond, and Israel will respond. I don't know when, I don't know where, I don't know how. That is left to our leaders to decide. But we will respond in a way that they will be very, very, very sorry for what they did. As our Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said, they made a very, very big mistake. And I hope that the people of Iran will feel free from this regime that is now in power over there.
But what I want to understand from you, so far you were targeting the proxies, but the fact you as in the country, so far Israel was targeting the proxies. The killing of Ismail Haniyeh in the presidential palace compound, of course, Israel hasn't officially taken responsibility. That drew Iran into this conflict. The killing of Hassan Nasrallah, Iran thought it had to respond. Now, if Israel were to respond, wouldn't it lead to a massive escalation and put this entire region in jeopardy, in harm's way?
Anytime you do something, there is a respondent. See what we respond to. Nasrallah or Haniyeh. Haniyeh, I'm not saying, I don't know who did Haniyeh. I don't know. Maybe some other from the moon, somebody came and did it. I don't know who did it, but I think it's a very, very right thing to do. Wherever it's done, I think that any murderer that murders women and children and elderly people, he shouldn't be alive. He should be killed, wherever. And if someone from Mars came and did it, I'm very happy that they did it.
But, isn't there a due legal process, a law process that should be followed?
The minute the terrorists will follow the law, we'll also follow the same law. I think Israel is following too much international law at the moment. We are following international law and the terrorists aren't. They're targeting civilians all the time. For years and years and years, they've been targeting civilians all over in Sderot, in the north of Israel, in Haifa, everywhere. They just target civilians. And they even don't try to evict civilians from there.
Let me take this to Ali Akbar Dareni once again. Ali Akbar Dareni, you heard what our analyst here, Lenny, had to say, that in case there is a strike back by Iran, there will be a massive response. There will be a massive response from Israel. Now, will this not lead to a spiral and escalation? So who's on top of this escalation ladder?
Iran is relying on itself. Iran is pursuing self-help. So Iran has made itself prepared for a counterattack in case Israel engages in adventurism. But let me first get back to the spokesman's rhetoric. He is not in a position to describe Iran. Israel repeatedly said that it has no enmity with the Palestinians, but it is at war with Hamas. But it has massacred 42,000 people in Gaza, in the same way that it is massacring Lebanese people, but it claims that it is war with Hezbollah. It's the same with Iran. These, psychological war is not going to work. But Iran, it depends on whether the United States is going to fall in Netanyahu's trap of being dragged into a war. If Iran's nuclear facilities are attacked, it will strengthen the position of those who want Iran to finish the job and pull out of the NPT and weaponize its nuclear program. If it is going to attack Iran's economic infrastructure, Iran will retaliate. Iran demonstrated its political will and its military capability by pinpointing Nevatim Air Base and other targets. The next time it can target Israel's economic infrastructure and will make Israel pay a very heavy price. So but Iran will not accept a vertical war. It will go for a horizontal war. Vertical war is between two parties, but horizontal war, in a horizontal war, you expand the geography of the war, and if that is going to happen, the world security and the world economy is going to suffer greatly. At the end of the day, why should we need a world if Iran is not safe in it?
Let me take this to Lenny once again, and let me get a response. A guest from Iran says that when Iran targeted Israel, it was just a Nevatim air base or places from where aircraft had been launched to target the Hezbollah or Ismail or other organizations. However, they claim, or Iran claims, that when Israel targets people, let's say Hamas, 40,000 odd people have been killed in Gaza. A large number of civilians have also been killed in Lebanon.
Well, let's separate between the things. First of all, when Iran targeted Israel, they maybe aimed at something, or maybe they told their people that they're aiming at military bases, but they don't know where the military bases are. And they, of course, they're not so good at what they're doing, so they missed. Maybe fortunately for us, unfortunately for them, there was one person killed in this latest Iranian attack. It was very sorry for them. It was an Arab Palestinian in Jericho that he was from Gaza, and he was the only one person that was killed by the Iranian missiles. So, I'm not sure if they were aiming at military camps or military bases. Maybe that is what they give themselves as a cover story, but that is not true. Now, unlike that, and an opposite of 180 degrees, exactly the opposite. What Israel does, Israel for decades informs houses in Gaza before they shoot at them, before they bomb them. We bomb only targets that are that we have proof that they are being used for terrorists. We only shoot at places that are hiding weapons and that are used by the terrorists.
The situation on ground, however, and Iran, the apprehension is that instead of this becoming a war between Israel and Iran, there may be other Islamic countries that may get involved. Is that an apprehension in the minds of people in Israel, whether countries like maybe the United Arab Emirates or Saudi Arabia or Jordan or Egypt or Turkey or Turkey, they get involved?
Maybe Iran would like to get them involved. We are not involving anyone with this, but maybe some other countries that also don't like the Iranian regime might be helping us. I don't know about it, but these are rumors that I hear, and maybe Iran will have something to do with them, like Iran has in the past bombed targets in Saudi Arabia.
Okay. Very, very interesting, Lenny, for joining me here on India Today. Many thanks. So what you seem to be seeing in this conflict is a very interesting cat and mouse game that's on. There are very interesting mind games that are being played at multiple levels. So while you have a war that's on ground, there's a war that's being fought in the skies, with, of course, Israel having complete air supremacy when it comes to countries like Lebanon. But at the same time, Iran using its missiles to attempt and target Israel, even though the multi-level protection here, the Iron Dome, the David Sling, the Arrow 2, the Arrow 3 missile defense system, the Patriot missiles, and beyond them, the fighter jets of Israeli Air Force, flanked by fighter jets of the US Air Force, countering those incoming missiles on that day. Well, there are some who also say that the Americans had given a major head start and advance notice and warning to Israel that the ballistic missiles were being prepared for launch, in a way helping Israel counter them even better. But is this war now likely to escalate altogether at a new level? We'll be tracking that story very closely, but that is all I have for you on this special broadcast. Many thanks for watching. News and updates continue on India Today. Stay with us.
You are watching India Today.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
Rangila Re with Motorola's incredible range of smartphones.
Hello, Moto. There is so much that's reshaping the electoral landscape of Haryana. Caste dynamics, rural-urban divide, OBC support, Dalit Jat coalitions, internal party wranglings, and then social movements. Some say this is the perfect political storm. Getting you the ground reports in Haryana and joining you in the studio, 6 a.m., 8th October, verdict day. It's going to be me, Preeti Chaudhary.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
Hoja Rangila Re with Motorola's incredible range of smartphones.
Hello, Moto.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Has the missile strike of a couple of days ago on Israel by Iran pushed the world even closer to the brink of an escalating conflict?
It has pushed the region toward stability.
You believe your strikes have damaged Israel?
It does seem like at this point in time there are security concerns and Iran is at a disadvantage in this war. You support Hezbollah?
We support Hezbollah and we do not deny that.
Will Iran get more isolated as a result of what is happening? Are you worried, as Geeta said, are you being pushed into a corner increasingly?
Discourse has increased popularity of Iran in the region across the board.
Indian interests in Iran, how badly can they be affected and what are the conversations you're having with New Delhi?
India is an important country, influential country, not only at the region but at the international level.
You see 7th of October, sir, as a terrorist act?
Just October 7 was a military operation by a resistance group, not a terrorist act.
You accept that Hezbollah's attacks on northern Israel will be seen as an act of provocation?
No.
India Today exclusive. Joining us now is Dr. Iraj Elahi, His Excellency the Ambassador of the Islamic Republic of Iran to India. Appreciate your joining us here, Dr. Elahi, at a tough time for Iran and the world. I want to ask you straight away, has the missile strike of a couple of days ago on Israel by Iran pushed the world even closer to the brink of an escalating conflict, a conflict that could involve many more countries in the region?
First of all, I would like to thank you, India Today, Gita and Mr. Rajdeep, for this opportunity that give me to talk to your audience. Since there is a mainstream media all over the world trying to misinform people regarding the development in the region, it is a good opportunity for me, and I really appreciate this. Back to your question, we believe that Iranian missile strike not only pushed the world and the region toward escalation, but since the intention of Iran was deterrence against the invasion and violation of Israel, it has pushed the region toward stability. You know, this is a new narration of the situation in the region.
You're saying the missile strike has pushed the region towards stability?
Stability and security. How? Yeah, it's a good question. Very good question. You know, since the beginning of establishment of Israel in the occupied territory of Palestine, they have expanded their territory day by day, step by step. They have invaded different sides of Palestine. They have pushed Palestinians to leave their homeland. They destroyed by bulldozer, by different instruments, the houses of Israeli Palestinian, and nowadays even Gaza was a Palestinian pure area which was populated by Palestinians. Now is nothing has remained in Palestine, in Gaza. Even in West Bank, they have occupied different parts of the West Bank. So comparing the current portion, Palestine, territory Palestinian, even the Mahmoud Abbas state territory to the 1947, 1963, 1967, 1973, nothing has remained for Palestine. So no one has stopped Israel from expansion. Expansionism of Israel has no limitation. So somebody should stop Israel from this. Yeah.
But Ambassador, how do you think Iran's missile attack will stop Israel? Israel has just said that they are going to retaliate. Biden might have come out and said, do not attack Iranian installations, nuclear installations. But all that talk has fallen into deaf ears when it comes to Netanyahu. Why do you say that Israel is going to stop, or it's going to deter Israel?
You know, Israel does not understand, is not committed to the international law. It has proven that it is not committed to international law. Genocide in Gaza has shown and proved to the people that Israel do not pay any attention to the human principle, ethics. So it just understands the language of force.
So they might retaliate.
Israel did not see anything in front of itself. It occupies Lebanon, in South Lebanon, even in Sabra and Shatila, inside Beirut, capital of Lebanon. They killed too many people in Sabra and Shatila camps. But when Hezbollah appeared, when Hezbollah got enough strength to push them back, they withdrew their forces from Lebanon and they went back. Of course, still there are some parts of territory of Lebanon is under occupation of Palestine, of Israel. But
you believe your strikes have damaged Israel?
We believe that. First of all, we had no option just to retaliate the invasion of Israel on sovereignty of Iran because of assassination of Ismail Haniyeh inside capital of Iran. This is the first, the reason of our intention of our operation. This is something which should be clear for you and for your audience. This is one thing. Secondly, we targeted military and intelligence installation and structures of Israel, which affected its capability. Of course, Israel has support of United States. As you know, the new bombs which is used and deployed by Israel recently has been submitted to Israel by United States.
Ambassador Elahi, let's just come back to the war.
Yeah.
Right now, if you look at the war, it seems like Israel does have an upper hand because Iran has suffered great losses. Ismail Haniyeh being killed or assassinated on Iranian soil.
It was painful
Hassan
for Iran.
Nasrallah in the Hezbollah headquarters in Beirut or suburbs of Beirut. Qasem Soleimani having been assassinated, and the top rung, second rung of the Hezbollah decimated. Right now, in this war, it doesn't seem like Iran has much to show for in terms of capability. Netanyahu has said he can reach the heart of Tehran. It does seem like at this point in time, there are security concerns and Iran is at a disadvantage in this war?
We believe that this is not the first time that Israel has threatened Iran. This is not first time. And the assassination of General Soleimani, assassination of Ismail Haniyeh, loss of Hezbollah, Secretary General of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, are painful for Iran. But you know, our main concern is our national security, our national interest. You know, despite they are saying that they are accusing Iran that Iran is supporting its proxy. We do not have, of course, we support the resistance group. Resistance group is acceptable in all international law.
You support Hezbollah?
We support Hezbollah. We do not deny that. We have not denied that. At the high-ranking level, Iranian official said that Iran is supporting Hezbollah. Iran is supporting resistance group in the region because they want to liberate their homeland. It is according to international law. But, you know, the definition of terrorist is not, they are defining terrorists as they want. There is a double standard. There is a double standard.
So what
assassination of Ismail Haniyeh inside Iran by explosion or missile or anything is not terrorist act. It's terrorist. But why many countries did not call it terrorist? Why many countries did not condemn this?
Which comes to the question, will Iran therefore find itself more isolated, be treated almost as a pariah state, not just by the West, but even by certain moderate Arab states who are worried that you are exporting this Shia, a kind of militant Shiaism across the region? Will Iran get more isolated as a result of what is happening? Are you worried, as Geeta said, are you being pushed into a corner increasingly?
We believe that our discourse has increased popularity of Iran in the region, across the world. And
even among moderate Arab countries?
Even among Arab countries. You know, you should separate Arab state, statehood, you know, statecraft, and people. You know, Hassan Nasrallah, who now is called and tagged as terrorist after war 2006, and 33 days war between Israel and Hezbollah, was the first man in the Arab world. According to the poll which was done by different, and even in the Western countries, all the popularity of Iran has increased. We do our discourse to defend oppressed people of Gaza, oppressed people of Palestine.
So when Mr. Netanyahu
popularity.
So when Mr. Netanyahu says or hints at a regime change, that all of this will lead to a regime change in Iran, says my war is not against the people of Iran, it's against the leadership of Iran, and hinting at a potential regime change in Iran, what would you say?
This is a dream, you know. For 45 days, not only Netanyahu as a puppet of United States, but the United States itself as a superpower tried to change the regime of Iran, but it failed. You know, we are not scared about the regime change. I believe that it's time to think about regime change inside Israel. Let's think about Israel, regime change in Israel. You know, Netanyahu has hijacked Israel, Palestinian, hijacked the whole region, hijacked the United States, hijacked the state of illegal regime of Israel, and security and stability of region for itself, for himself.
Is Iran, given the fact that Israel has vowed to retaliate, how secure is Iran from this threat that Israel poses? The US has said don't target nuclear installations, but there is a question mark over oil installations, what that could do to the world. How secure does Iran feel today, given that there is now this omnipresent threat of Israel retaliating?
Iran has reached to a level of self-sufficiency in defense that can defend itself. Regarding nuclear installation, you know, we hope that the advisor or the Lord of Israel, which is United States, can convince or oblige it to not.
But are they listening to US? Is Netanyahu listening to the US at all?
But Netanyahu is receiving the ammunition from US.
Okay. I really need to ask this. What is your expectation from India? Because there have been conversations with India, and India has a lot of interests there, not just in terms of oil, but in terms of infrastructure as well. So Indian interests in Iran, how badly can they be affected, and what are the conversations you're having with New Delhi?
Since the beginning of the tension between, you know, this recent tension between Iran and the region, I explicitly and occasionally mention that India is an important country, influential country, not only at the region but at the international level. It has good relations with Israel. It can convince Israel to stop genocide. According to the Hinduism, genocide is not accepted. You know, when you respect even a plant, when you respect an animal, so you cannot be silent. You cannot be indifferent regarding the genocide, ongoing genocide in Gaza. So India can use its influence to stop this genocide. Of course, there is a differences. You know, India called 7th of October as terrorist act. Okay. How many people were killed in 7th of October? How many people?
Over 1,000, which you presume, do you regard it as a terrorist act? Do you see 7th of October, sir, as a terrorist act?
Just
over 1,000 people.
Let's assume that
it was a terrorist act.
Let's assume that it was a terrorist act.
Yes.
1 is equal how many person? Nowadays, the number of casualties in Gaza has exceeded 41,000 people.
Your point taken, sir, but would you accept that it's a terrorist act? I take your point, Mr. Ambassador.
It means that
But do you accept that Hamas committed a terrorist act? Do you accept that Hezbollah's attacks on northern Israel will be seen as an act of provocation? Do you see when Houthis from Yemen target Israel, that's also seen as an act of provocation? And Iran is seen to protect all these groups?
No. You know, our viewpoint regarding the basis of the tension differs. So when the basis of the issue in your narration differs from mine, so
You're saying it didn't start on October 7th, it started with what you believe is the illegal occupation of Gaza and West Bank.
October 7 was a military operation by a resistance group, not a terrorist act.
Just a while ago said that you'll invite Indian journalists to go to Iran. Are you going to assure us that we will be allowed to go to Iran, to cover Iran, to see what's really happening on the ground?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, that's an assurance. That's
good to hear, Ambassador.
Thank you.
I appreciate you joining us. You've taken the time, and we've given you the time to give your perspective, and it's important to have that perspective from Tehran. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ambassador Elahi.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
Rangila Re with Motorola's incredible range of smartphones.
Hello, Moto.
What's the situation on the ground? How difficult have things become for people in Lebanon?
The situation on the ground is very bad.
Hassan Nasrallah is no more, but there was some conversation about a ceasefire agreement between Israel and the Hezbollah.
Lebanon has always been calling for a ceasefire, for peaceful solution for all the crises in the Middle East.
Did Hassan Nasrallah agree to the ceasefire agreement? Israel had the option and the route to a negotiation and ceasefire with the Hezbollah that could lead to peace rather than the attack that was carried out immediately after. When was the ceasefire agreed upon? What is your assessment and reading of this ground invasion? Are they here to stay? Will they come and go? And how is Lebanon looking at responding?
This land is ours and we are ready to defend it, even if we know that the enemy, our enemy, Israel, has the supremacy.
The war in West Asia is escalating. Lebanon has become the center right now of the onslaught from Israel. What's really happening on the ground? I'm being joined in an exclusive conversation with Lebanon's ambassador to India, Dr. Rabi Narsh. Dr. Narsh, thank you so much for speaking with India Today Global. You're here after just visiting Beirut. What's the situation on the ground? How difficult have things become for people in Lebanon?
Thank you, Gita. Thank you for having me. Well, the situation is an all-out war waged by Israel against Lebanon. The situation is bad. We have so far more than 1 million displaced from the mainly southern part of Lebanon and Bekaa Valley, and from Beirut also. Plus, of course, you know that we have the about 2 million Syrian refugees that Lebanon hosts. So the situation on the ground is very bad. This is on the humanitarian side. On the military side, there's the daily attack by Israel, the unprecedented firepower that dropped on civilians. So far also we have more than 2,000 innocent civilian souls have perished, and more than about 5,000 wounded.
The Hezbollah has come under severe attack. Hassan Nasrallah is no more, but there was some conversation about a ceasefire agreement between Israel and the Hezbollah, which of course the Lebanese government was mediating. Could you share details on that?
Sure. You remember we met and we had some interview about a year ago almost. And since then I told you that Lebanon is never interested in war. And Lebanon has always been calling for a ceasefire, for peaceful solution for all the crises in the Middle East. The one party who is against every political settlement is the terrorist state of Israel. Israel has always refused the political solution and has always resorted to military measurements. What happened recently, if we want to talk directly on the current situation, is that yes, Lebanon has been working with international powers for a ceasefire on the Lebanese front and to kind of separate it from Gaza front. And there has been with the good offices of France and the USA even, and some other European powers, there has been a kind of draft agreement for a ceasefire, ceasing of hostilities. But there was a kind of plot, because even our minister mentioned it, that late Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah himself agreed to a ceasefire. But then the assassination happened, and the kind of breach of trust, then the whole situation went to square zero.
So you are saying, did Hassan Nasrallah agree to the ceasefire agreement?
He did. Yes, he did. And there were some international envoys who were sponsoring this ceasefire. And it was, of course, it was conveyed to the international community through our foreign minister, who informed the international envoys that yes, we are ready. Lebanon as a whole is ready for a ceasefire.
So you're saying that Israel had the option and the route to a negotiation and ceasefire with the Hezbollah that could lead to peace rather than the attack that was carried out immediately after. When was the ceasefire agreed upon? Was it just days before the attack on the Hezbollah?
It was obvious later that it was just a whole plot to assassinate Hassan Nasrallah. It was a plot that Israel would announce their first or the preliminary accept of ceasefire, and Netanyahu was in the at New York at the UN General Assembly delivering speeches. His speech, and then this assassination happened, all of a kind of plot, military plot to assassinate Hezbollah leader.
There's also information about the UN resolution and that the Lebanese government was ready to fully implement the UN resolution as well.
This famous UN resolution 1701.
Yes.
Yes, we have always been calling for the full implementation of 1701. Since the issuance of this resolution, Lebanon has been abiding by it, but the continuous violation of 1701 was from one side only, from the superpower of the region, from the terrorist state of Israel. They have always been violating airspace of Lebanon, the land incursion, the sea violation, so the violation of the sovereignty of Lebanon from all sides.
Dr. Narsh, the fact that we are looking at a very serious scenario and situation right now where Lebanon is under siege in many ways than one, and it's not just the bombing, the pager attacks, the walkie-talkie explosions, we will talk about that too, but we're also looking at ground invasion from Israel. We've seen that in the past as well. What is your assessment and reading of this ground invasion? Are they here to stay? Will they come and go? And how is Lebanon looking at responding to this?
They cannot stay. They cannot keep the control of the land. They have tried the occupation of parts of Lebanon. They did occupy it for certain years, but at the end of the day, the people of the land would conquer the occupation. Occupation never wins. History has told us so. The resistance is a legitimate right for every people under occupation. This land is ours, and we are ready to defend it, even if we know that the enemy, our enemy, Israel, has the supremacy. Maybe the air supremacy, the weapons supremacy, they have the unprecedented firepower, maybe the best and the top technology of the world. But still, we know that we will win and we will defend our land. And when it comes to the ground, they tried only yesterday, if you, of course, you are following, they sustained grave losses of more than 15 soldiers when they tried to encourage in the ground. I'm not saying that it is easy, and they will not. They can, and they will try, and they might. But at the end of the day, they will be defeated, as we did in 2000 and 2006 and even before. We have this experience with Israel since its creation. For us, we know. Now the world maybe is seeing the true face of the terrorist state of Israel. But we know the fact since its creation that Israel is never interested in peace. Israel is an occupation state, occupation power that only aims to expand its land. Unfortunately, they justify this through a twisted and dangerous religious doctrine. This is the dangerous thing, that they justify this religiously.
Dr. Rabi Narsh, thank you so much for joining us here on India
Thank you.
Today.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
Rangila re, with Motorola's incredible range of smartphones.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
Hi, I am AI anchor Sana, bringing the top headlines for you, presented by Motorola. FIR against AAP MLAs after uproar over the martial issue in Delhi, case against Saurabh Bharadwaj too. CM Yogi launches logo of Prayagraj Mahakumbh, meets sadhus, says saints to refrain from making negative statements. 10 doctors fired by Kolkata's Ajikar hospital, many charges including ragging. 43 will have to vacate hostel, 6 doctors on hunger strike.
once again to see voters exit poll for India today. The big states that we've tracked today, Jammu and Kashmir and Haryana. The first big fight since the Lok Sabha elections, and the exit polls have already created
some people asked before we started the show, given what happened in the Lok Sabha elections, why even bothering to do a post-poll study? And then I was looking at the live concurrent data, which suggests that you've got everyone watching with rapt attention. That's just the way life really is. You can crib, you can curse, but you've got people watching. And the fact, Rajdeep, is, and I believe in this very firmly, that a post-poll study provides far more authoritative insights into what's likely to happen on counting day, giving you granular breakups about caste, about community, which you simply can't get when you go to a Jab We Met on an election on your plate.
As long as you don't get trapped in being an exact poll, I think we are fine. Because, people think that